Hey, By Thomas here. Today, we're going to make a gift for some good friends of ours. First things first, they don't know that they're getting this gift, so that's cool. I've made them a charcuterie board before, and it's out of Black Walnut, along with a spatula. But I'm like, what would go along with this and match that? And it would be a nice little bench, like an entryway bench, or a bench you can put in front of your bed or something like that. It's a bench you could put stuff on, or sit down at when you are put stuff on. You can sit down at it while you're putting your shoes on, or if you're using your bedroom, you can put like sheets, towels, whatever you want. Something neat. Anyways, long story short, I've got a piece of black walnut here. It's 2 inches thick. I've got some interesting figure here. I've got a little bit of figure down there. However, when you do a bench, you want to kind of have it uniform shaped and everything. And here, getting close to this knot here, it does kind of elongate out and it's oval shape. Whereas here, right here in the middle, it's nice concentric lines. It's even pretty much on both sides. Now I do have to get the bark off. That's gonna be kind of a pain, but I can do that with some tools. But I think right here is where I want to make this bench, and this has got to fit into the back of our car and everything. So I might need to measure our car to make sure it fits. Although it'll fit in theirs too. Anyways, long story short, I haven't figured out the length yet. Is what I'm trying to say. I'm gonna figure out the length. But I do know I need to cut this section off. I've got a separate project I'm going to do with this section right here. And I want to cut it to where it is uniformed shaped. I don't want this bulging. So, and some people are like, well, he's not using a straight edge. I don't use straight edges on benches and stuff like that because it's a live edge on it. I will cut what I will call a straight edge here, and I'll mark or match it on the other side. There might be some imperfections there, and that's okay. It just adds to the uniqueness of it, if you will. So without further ado, again, I'm looking for about the same width. That's going to be somewhere in this neighborhood right here. So figure out what's going to be a straight edge. I figure I can use this inner heartwood as my straight edge, so I'm going to kind of eyeball it off that. Hopefully I can get through this with just one cut, because then it'll make the cleanup of the edges so much easier. Here we go. Now it's going to want to drop on me, so I better move this down further. That way it won't, teeter-totter on me. Nice, clean, one singular cut. And you can see this has been drying for a while, but this right here is a good representation. Hopefully you can see this on here. You can definitely tell dry top, dry bottom. But that center section, you've got about 1 inch in there. That center section, maybe 3/4 of an inch. That is still, you can feel it has moisture to it. So I do know that this wood still is drying. And that's okay, because we did cut this at 2 inches thick. And it's actually not that bad. Once I encapsulate, once I coat this final product in oil, the mineral oil and then the butcher block conditioner type stuff, it'll still allow the wood to dry. However, it will minimize the amount of movement, if you will. It's a technique I've used for many years, and it works out pretty well. But again, very cool piece here. This figured piece here, I'll do something with this. I've got something in mind with this. It is a little bit bigger than I wanted, but that'll be for another video. So I'll just put that right there. And then the legs that we use, these are some pretty heavy duty legs. These right here, I get these on Amazon. Yeah, they're probably, I know they are. They're made in China. However, these are the better ones that I found on there. I'll see if I can put a link in the description. But one of the things that drew me to these, I think these were TC Home. We're TC Sawmills, TC Home. It was interesting. But anyways, these will be the legs that we'll put on the bottom of this. I do like how, again, I mean, these are solid. These are not winky-dink things. I mean, you can see right there, that's 1/4 inch, steel right there. I like how they have all the holes here recessed in, so that your screw heads will fit in there. I don't use the screws that they give with it. They use like drywall screws. Those are kind of garbage. I use these furniture type screws that have a square head on it. But I like how, again, they're recessed in there. There's a lot of holes. I will absolutely use every one of those. And it's just a good, solid, quality leg. I really haven't had any downside with these. Now, I have ordered some other ones, and they were like really thin walled, and they were just, I thought they were garbage. But this has been the best ones I've found. But they're not cheap. I want to say these are 50 or 60 bucks a pop. But they've been pretty good for me. So, again, I'm going throwing a time lapse now. I'll get the tape measure out here, kind of figure out what my sizes will be. I'll look at the one that we have in our bedroom, kind of go from there, and then I'll show you kind of like what this two-tone looks like. And I've got to get this bark off too. That's always a fun experience. Okay, so the initial bark has been removed. Got a big pile on the ground that I wish Lucy would take away, but she won't. It's black walnut though, so you don't need to eat that. Anyways, we've got this off. I had tried that little tool that goes up underneath the edge of a door frame or something like that, little vibrating head that goes back and forth. It did okay until I broke it, but it did a really good job at getting, I guess it was this face here, did a really good job of getting that initial layer off. And I just came back with a hammer and this hatchet thing here with the hammerhead on it. Probably not the intended use, but it did work very well. I'm very happy with that. And I've got most of the bark off. The reason I want to get some of that, maybe not all, but some of that, is if I use my cut saw wheel on there, or if I use my big heavy duty sanding disc, that bark material is going to clog it up and essentially be useless. I won't be able to do much with that. So yeah, by doing this little bit right here, removing this, it's going to make everything else so much easier. Well, that's all the light that I think I have for today. I'll come back at this tomorrow, and tomorrow that'll be sanding. Start off probably on those edges first, round that out to the shape that I want, and then we'll come back and do top and bottom surfaces from there. So yeah, stay tuned. Well, folks, I've never had that happen before. My phone which I had sitting right here and everything, and it was, you know, tracking my progress, at some point cut out because it got too cold. I'm not gonna lie, it's absolutely freezing out here. It's sub 20 degrees and everything, and the wind is blowing pretty heavily. But long story short, very happy with how this turned out. Sanding, I sanded on this for a long time, but what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to take this down to the basement and let this acclimate to warmer weather, or warmer temperature, excuse me, for a couple days, because I'm also going to go on an ice fishing trip with my dad over by Hayward, Mississippi, or not Miss. What am I talking about? Hayward, Wisconsin. That's about 4.5 hours from here. But long story short, I'm gonna put this down into the basement, let this acclimate to temperature, and then also it'll cause probably the grain to pop up and everything, because the board's pretty chilly and it might have some moisture still in there, which we know it does. But we're gonna let it acclimate, and then I'll do a little bit of sanding afterwards, and then we'll apply the legs and stuff like that. So yes, this is a multi-day process, multi-hours working on this, but this is gonna be gorgeous. One other thing is I've kind of evened out the sapwood so that the board is pretty uniform the whole way down, and I've rounded those edges. I wanted to round them a little bit more, but it proved to be very difficult. Even though I was using 60 grit sandpaper, I didn't want to bring the cuts all out here, because if I bring the cuts all, it's just so much finished work to do afterwards. So I said, let me just, you know, stick with the sanding for right now. But all right, I'm freezing. I'm gonna get back down into the inside of the house, the basement, finish up a project down there, and go from there. So, all right, folks, we're down in the basement now. I just have the legs on here just to represent what this is going to look like. They're not attached yet. Very happy with the way everything's dried. It's been about a week since my last filming of this and everything. So I've had this down in the basement. It's dried very well, no movement and stuff like that, which is great. So I've got these stainless steel screws down there, and the weirdest thing, I open the box, look at this, there's two different types of freaking heads in there. So I'm kind of sorting through, getting out the square head ones and everything, because that's not a T25 bit right there, that's like a smaller Torx bit. My T25s don't work, but I have the square bit, so we're going to use the square bit. So before I add those legs on there, I need to go ahead and use that mineral oil and coat the bottom side of this board to ensure that she's got a full coat of mineral oil all the way around her. So I'll throw on the time lapse, go ahead and add the oil to this, and then I'll go ahead and do the top side real time so you can see kind of the beauty of this wood come out. But again, very happy with everything looks. Let's get to moving quick. Okay, so everything is nice and secure. I mean, she's a solid table and everything. I'm gonna go ahead and add some mineral oil first. We're gonna do multiple coats, but a little bit of mineral oil goes a long way. So I've got that, plus everything that's in the rag. This is gonna be the initial soap coat, if you will. That looks beautiful. I think our friends are really going to enjoy this. Black Walnut is my favorite by far because of how much it pops between the sapwood and the heartwood. It just looks absolutely gorgeous. So again, this is just a heavy coating I'm putting on here right now. I'll let this sit down here for a couple hours, let it soak in some more and everything, and then I'll come down here with my cloth and apply the final stuff, because paper towels, you know, I was going to use my blue paper towels and everything because they don't leave behind all the little fuzz stuff. This paper towel will leave behind fuzz, but since this is the initial coat, I don't care. My goal is to get as much of this mineral oil to soak in as possible. Yeah, I think that is going to be gorgeous. Wouldn't you just love having something like this in your entryway to your house or something like that? A nice place for the kids to take off their boots or something like that. Have this in a mud room or something like that. That is gorgeous. So again, heavy coat of mineral oil on there. Gonna let that sit for a couple hours down here, and then we'll come back and do the final coat. Okay, so it's been about 2 hours now, and as you see, most all of this mineral oil has been absorbed up in there, and you can see the sapwood has darkened slightly too, which looks awesome. Now we're gonna go back with the Howard's Butcher Block conditioner. So this, I absolutely love this stuff. I use this everywhere. This Butcher Block conditioner doesn't really change the color very much, and it's just a great finish because it's got beeswax, it's got mineral oil, all that stuff in here. Everything food grade too, but it gives it a really cool, like satin type finish. I love that. So first things first, rub it in my hand. And that wax that's in there, it kind of fills in any of those like little quote unquote micro scratches or like the tool marks and stuff like that. There's not much in here. I think I finished off the top of this at 120 grit. That's what I think I finished off the top. But with an orbital sander, it does a great job. Now we're down here in the basement. The basement's probably 65 degrees or so. So it's a bit chilly down here, but I like working this in by hand because the heat from my hand and the friction helps to kind of work it into the grain, if you will. But all in all, I think they're going to be happy with this. I don't have to worry about the bottom. I did a very heavy coat of mineral oil on the bottom. So I'm just going to add this Butcher Block conditioner to the surface here, because again, this is going to be the finished surface. This is what people are going to see and sit on or put stuff on. You want this side to have that kind of protection. And literally, there's not much wax in there, but that little bit of wax that's in there does do a lot of protecting. And just every so often, I would say about, I don't know, for the first few months, once a month, oil it like this with the Butcher Block conditioner, and after that, every like three months, and then every 6 months after that. I got one hair over there, but yep, that looks great. And it gives it a satin finish. It just looks really good. I like to finish with a cloth because it doesn't leave behind the cotton little bits and stuff like that from a paper towel or whatnot. It actually, or I should say, the wood bits, the cloth here, especially like a little wash rag, does great. And there you have it. I think that looks really, really good. I'll probably do one more coat on this in about another hour or so. And that's the name of the game. Just put a couple coats on here and go from there. But yeah, I think that looks phenomenal. I think they're gonna be very happy with this. Okay, so this is the last little bit. We're gonna add on the final coat here. Again, this piece is looking amazing. I just cannot express how much I like black walnut, especially in an application like this. I mean, this is gorgeous. Great two-tone, great, grains throughout the whole piece. It's awesome. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Just a quick little video. I think it's quick. I don't know how long it's going to take me to, if I edit all these pieces together. But anyways, long story short, the the piece here. I think it's going to be a great birthday gift for one of our friends, and it's going to match some other pieces that I've made for them. So again, please like, subscribe. I don't do a ton of videos like this, but I like to put these out there every so often just to show sawyers what they can do with the sawmill and everything. This is just, some black walnut that I cut up recently. This is one of the smaller boards from that that piece and everything that I said this would be perfect size for a bench, and there you have it. Perfect little like entryway bench or whatever that may be. Look at that, it does that little satin finish. Gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. All right, well, again, thank you for taking time to watch this video. If there's anything you want to see or any questions or everything, please don't be shy. Write that in the comments below. But there you have it. I'm very happy with that, and we'll see you around the next video.